Alright, if you think Bitcoin is getting boring right now, well, I have a surprise for you because this thing is about here to break the all-time high very, very soon, and things are about to go absolutely nuts. I'm still up here, 725,000 US dollar here on my Bitcoin position, and it's still holding up very, very nicely, guys. As you guys can see here, the Bitcoin price, we had a small correction here to the downside, but we are currently hovering very, very near the all-time high, and this again reminds me a lot of what we saw back here in November of 2024, where we also went here towards the all-time high. We had one correction over here to the downside. Eventually, we broke it back to the upside, and then we had a massive rally. Over here, look at this. From the bottom over here to the top, this was a 120% move here to the upside. If we are going to see something very, very similar, guys, that is going to bring the Bitcoin price up here to 164,000 US dollar, and that is probably going to mean even better things here for some of these altcoins as well. So things are about to pop off. If you hold Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever, things are looking very, very juicy here for the crypto space. And again, I will continue to hold this position. As you guys can see over here, my Ethereum trade here is up here, 975,000 US dollar, beautifully long over here, the bottom. If I go quickly over here to the Solana trade as well, as you guys can see here, still up here, 100,000 US dollar. Had a small mover to the downside, but I am still holding it here. Probably we're going to see a recovery here together with Bitcoin as well. So we are currently hovering here towards this all-time high, and we are coming very, very close here to again moving here to the upside and breaking it to the upside. We just need to get the momentum here back into the market. And as you guys can see here, every single time that we've broken the all-time high, for example here, 20,000 US dollar, I mean, look at that. We had this significant value to the upside. This is always when we see significant hype. Another good example here, for example, was back in 2017, where every single time where we set basically a new all-time high and we broke it, we instantly saw an impulse back to the upside. And this is just based on the fact that if the Bitcoin price breaks the all-time high, people tend to talk about the Bitcoin price. It gets on the news. People talk about it on X, whatever. People tend to FOMO in, and especially these big institutions, which are still currently under holding Bitcoin, they especially start FOMOing in and start buying Bitcoin. And that's why we always see these big volatile cycles. It's because people always tend to FOMO on the top, and then people tend to sell on the bottom. So what we're now seeing is we're probably going to see a new rally of FOMO, a new flash wave here of people coming into the space, pushing the Bitcoin price further to the upside. We are waiting on that. We've broken the all-time high. We just need to push a little bit further to the upside, and people are going to talk about it on the news again. And that's why I'm again here holding this position. And over here, by the way, I am trading here on the BTCC exchange. This BTCC exchange is probably the best exchange out there. I have never got any problems here signing up with this exchange. Wherever I am here on the world, I tend to do a lot of traveling and trading at the same time. Wherever I am, I never have had exchanges here with this exchange. You have no personal information that is required. We're signing up with this exchange, and you get a flat 10% deposit bonus here in your first deposit. So every deposit here above $500, you get a flat 10% deposit, which means if you actually lose over here this 10% deposit, it is deducted from your bonus, but any profits that you make, you will keep it. So again, if you deposit, for example, $50,000 here on the exchange, you get $5,000 here bonus for free to trade with. If you actually lose it, fine, you will not lose any of your own personal money. But if you actually trade with this money, so totally 55,000 US dollar, then you can actually keep your profits. And again, no KYC, no personal information required compared to Bybit and some other exchanges as well. They are not able to be used in the US and the EU, for example. This exchange, you can enter it absolutely everywhere. So just press here over here, the first link in the description over here, that will take you over here to this dashboard. So anyway, that is my trade here, and I'm again trading here on the BTCC here exchange. And if I very quickly here go over here to this chart, where I set up over here the M2 money supply, we can again beautifully see that the Bitcoin price is still following over here the M2 money supply. Now, some people were saying on X, for example, that this indicator isn't really accurate, and it's kind of like a little bit like magic to just get this indicator, just overlay it with Bitcoin. I slightly delayed it over here to 71 days, but it does seem to exactly line up here with the Bitcoin price. Even though we're not going to be following it one-to-one, the M2 money supply is still going further to the upside, and historically we have always seen significant correlation here with this indicator. Now, it is going to be hard to exactly line up this indicator. That's also, I think, not really how you're going to be using this indicator. Of course, it can be kind of fun here to overlay it together here with the Bitcoin price, but what you probably should be focused on mostly is if I go here and change the time offset. So this is exactly the offset when the M2 money supply here together here with the Bitcoin price, we always see a slight little bit of a delay here with the Bitcoin price, but you can see that when the M2 money supply was rising back in 2020, eventually a couple months after that, the Bitcoin price tended to catch up. We can see the same thing over here. Look at this. When the M2 money supply was going here to the downside, you can eventually see the Bitcoin price here beautifully following it. And eventually when the M2 money supply catched up back into the upside, you can again see the Bitcoin price just beautifully following it here as well. And sometimes the Bitcoin price is a little bit earlier, sometimes the M2 money supply is a little bit earlier, but you generally see that the trend is just one-to-one. I mean, look at this also here. Even back here in 2018, if I go back here as well, you can see some very beautiful correlation where you can see the Bitcoin price setting an all-time high here, and eventually see the money supply going down together here with the Bitcoin price. You can eventually see here is that we did recover on the M2 money supply, and you're going to see a couple months later Bitcoin as well here catched up. So this M2 money supply, yes, it is 100% accurate. I mean, probably people are kind of misusing it, exactly overlaying it with the Bitcoin price. While it is interesting and fun, I don't think you should exactly be using that. But what this indicator does tell us is that as long as this indicator is going up here like this, it is very likely the Bitcoin price is going to follow. Maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months after that, but it tends to eventually catch up, and that's exactly what we're seeing over here as well. I mean, look at that. Beautifully following here the M2 money supply, and I think that the Bitcoin price will go even higher. I mean, the M2 money supply here is broken here above this high, and Bitcoin so far is trading around it. So that is exactly as well why I will keep this position over here open. So quickly going over here to the news, we have significant news over here from MetaPlanet. MetaPlanet is currently the #1 traded company here in Japan. It's funny because when they actually created the company here, MetaPlanet, I was actually able to meet the CEO. We had a nice little meetup here together with Dylan Leclerc and some other people. I did not buy MetaPlanet, but it would have been an absolute beautiful opportunity. I would have made a 30x here on the stock. I didn't buy because the thing is, I don't want to get exposure to paper Bitcoin. I want to get exposure to real Bitcoin. But now thinking about it, it would have made sense just to drop 100k in this stock. That was my mistake, but it went up 30x. Could have flipped 100k into 3 million. Regardless of that, it is currently the most traded stock here in Japan. And again, MetaPlanet is a Bitcoin strategy company similar to MicroStrategy as well. So very interesting that they're doing so extremely well. We also see here JP Morgan starts lending against spot BTF here. Absolutely insane here as well. You're using Bitcoin here as collateral here. And I think the last thing that we quickly want to talk about here on the news, again, all tweets here from Dylan Leclerc, is this tweet here from Elon Musk, where he said, "I'm sorry, but I can't send it anymore. The massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know, you did it wrong. You know it." And this is basically what Dylan Leclerc is saying, is that you can either stay here in the fiat system where it just constantly stays on, it's basically driven on spending, or Bitcoin that is just focused on saving. Now, what I also posted here in the comment section, it's all incentives. The thing is, guys, that you don't necessarily have to agree necessarily with Bitcoin, but if there's an incentive for people to hold Bitcoin, Bitcoin eventually is going to take over the entire financial system. And that's the entire financial system is built on incentives. People think like, oh, is Bitcoin great for the economy? Yes or no, this or that. It doesn't matter. It's all based on incentives. And you don't have to be an ideologue on Bitcoin. You have to be a fiat ideologue. Wherever the incentives are, that is going to win. And the incentives here are for the government to spend money, and that is going to further incentivize people to flee into Bitcoin. So this bull run is not finished anytime soon. We're breaking the all-time high, and this position is going to go bazonka very soon. So still a bit more patience, guys, but things are about to play out very beautiful. With that, I want to end this video. I hope to see you guys here in my next video. Bye.